Ignition sequence start.
And we are live with the Primas in 5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
And we're live with the Primas. And does everybody know that that's my famous intro? That's my voice, you guys. That's yeah, you're welcome. Anyways, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Primas podcast. Thank you so much as always for listening, for supporting us. We really appreciate you. I'm here with my beautiful prima Jessica. ¿Cómo estás, Jessica?
Hi, Prima. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Happy Black Friday. Today we are recording on a Friday. So I'm excited to see all the crazy videos that are going to be released tomorrow on this day.
About Black Friday?
About Black Friday.
See, that's why I don't celebrate holidays, because of all of the consumerism and materialism that it creates, and whatever. That's a different topic for another day. So today I'm really excited because we are going to be talking about WAP. Yes, wet ass vagina. Wouldn't it be funny if they would say WAV, wet ass vagina? But anyway. So I am a huge fan of hip hop and R&B. Growing up in LA, it was just a huge influence for a lot of people in the early 90s. And I actually wasn't into West Coast rap. I was a lot into East Coast rap because my older brother liked Biggie, and I was also into Bone Thugs. And so I got heavily influenced by my older brothers and what they used to like to listen to. And so hip hop and R&B, also old school punk rock and some 80s and a lot of different Mexican music, of course. But through the ages, I've loved to really kind of, how do you say it? Like dissect hip hop, because I actually learned about Tupac in college. That's the first time. I never even liked Tupac music before that, just because it would remind me of like the violence in the neighborhood, and I didn't feel comfortable with a lot of the lyrics that would come out of people like NWA. They're the ones that during that time were just talking heavily, very negatively about women. And I get it, that's a part of the culture, but I'm just so happy that we have female rap artists because they speak so much to me, and they always have. And one of my favorites, I have a lot of different rappers that I listen to. A lot of them are underground, but some of the mainstream ones are like Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. I love all of the new rappers coming out. I don't really listen to them because it's not so much in my generation, but like City Girls. And then shout out to Snow the Product. She never made it mainstream, but she's a awesome rapper from North California. She's Mexican, but I would consider her like underground. Anyways, Princess Nokia, Young and May is pretty big, but I love Rico Nasty and Princess Nokia. They're probably my favorite rappers. Okay, so the reason why we wanted to talk about all of this is because I think it's a big deal when women like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, they get criticized a lot for speaking so openly about their sexuality. And as a woman who, at a very young age, I learned that men were allowed to just catcall you, especially in the Mexican community. I know it happens all across the board, but I'm talking specifically from my experience. You would always hear other women talk shit about other women. Like, why is she dressed like that? That's why she doesn't have respect. Why did she open her legs? If she wouldn't have been dressed like that, that wouldn't have happened to her. Things like that. And so, when these female artists come out and they speak so much like they're in control, to me that sends a huge message, because it's telling us we have control. Like, stop thinking that only males can talk about their sexuality. It's a beautiful thing both ways. And when women do it in this day and age, it's like a huge criticism. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today.
Yeah, and I really love Cardi B for her I don't give a fuck attitude. And that's what I want to talk about. Like, let's just highlight that, because she got a lot of critique, a lot of negative critique about this song. WAP, and I don't understand it, but clearly there's still this huge double standard between men and women in the context of the lyrics. And yeah, this is why I want to talk about it. Cindy, you brought it up. You're like, let's talk about it after mom shaming episode. I was like, yeah, this is a good transition into let's just elevate it, the WAP.
Yeah. When WAP first came out, though, I really wanted to do an episode on it, but I'm like, how do we have enough content? Do we know enough? Jessica, I feel like just recently got into like rap, right? Like later in your life.
Oh
Because
yeah,
you were so used
later.
to
Even
it when I used
so,
to play it.
yeah, like I play because you listen to this. I told you, like at 7:00 in the morning, that's your hype music. Mine is like Coldplay on my way to work, like
Very mellow.
yeah, very mellow.
Yeah,
It's just our
yeah.
personalities. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll listen to it, but it's not my go-to. Just listening to hip hop always takes me back to like my ratchet party house party days, and that's all they were blasting. So it takes me back, but you're right. It's not my first choice of genre when I'm in the car.
Yeah. So I was like, do we have enough? Do we have enough energy to go into this topic? But I really, like you were saying earlier about Cardi B, how from the gate, like as soon as she came up, even before, once rappers get really, really big and mainstream, for some reason the energy doesn't do it for me anymore. Don't get me wrong, I always listen to it, everything, but they start all sounding the same. But a lot of rappers, before they get big, their grimy stuff, when they're still really trying to make money, when they're still like, no, I gotta get out of this situation. Cardi B was just huge for me. And she one of her first mixtapes was called Stripper Hoe. And just from the gate, she was owning, like, look, this is what you're gonna call me. This is what you've been calling women your whole life. Anybody who owns their sexuality or dresses a little bit more, who dresses a little bit more how would you, provocative, I guess. I hate that word, but like, when people show more skin, if you're a female, you're going to be called all these derogatory things. And she owned it. She's like, fine, give me your money. And all of her music, and like I said in the beginning, was saying like, then give me your money. Then give me your money. Like, I'm a scam artist. I don't care. Call it what it is. And I just love how raw she is, because she's been criticized so much about how she talks. Candace Owens, I don't know if you guys know her, but like she's hardcore conservative, and her and Cardi B went back and forth during like some political stuff, and she called her illiterate. And one thing that I always, when people are going to hate on Cardi B in the comment sections and anything ever, it's always that she's illiterate because of the way that she talks. But what I love is that she doesn't give up. Like, she's like, I don't care. This is who I am. And it's so empowering because she's younger than us. She's in her like late 20s, I think, mid to late 20s. And it's taken me so long to find my voice in this society as a woman, the woman that I am, and to accept myself for who I am and put that out there, that it's just very empowering to see that some of these young people are like, I don't care. They just don't care. I think that just is so empowering to me. But to some, very hardcore conservative people, it's like, you're the reason why our men cheat. You're the reason why men, they just blame everything on women, of course. And so I love that. And I was telling Jess earlier, I don't know how they don't ever get like sad about it. And they do. They're very open. They say that they do. Cardi B has like deleted her stuff. She's like, I can't take it. But I support it. I support everything that they're doing.
Yeah, and when I sent you that video on Candace Owens, she's just the type of person, and we discussed it earlier, is like that holds women back. And Cardi B is like the complete opposite, which is showing how progressive we are and we're becoming. Like, we don't need everything that Candace Owens stands for. Like, that's not us. That's not who we are today. And you're right. There's not a big age gap between them, but their ideas and the way their stance are, it's so different from 360, right? One's very liberal and one's very conservative. And Candace Owens just rubs me the wrong way in all her beliefs. I mean, she's very educated. I understand where she's coming from, but you said it very well, Prima, earlier when we were talking about it. She's just the type of woman that holds other women back from breaking all those stigmas that we're fighting against to this day, It's just been 100 years since we've been able to vote, had the right to vote. all women, regardless of the color of skin. That's just 100 years ago. And the way she talks, it's like we're back in 1950s. Oh, your husband this. Oh, your husband that. And then thinking about Candace Owens, like I just recently chopped off all my hair, right? I had it to like my hips, which was about like 13 inches long. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buzz cut it. Like I'm over it. Like I'm just done with my hair and I don't even style it. So I want to feel like it's my choice, right? Like I could do whatever I want. Like I'm comfortable in my skin now being 30 years old than I ever was in my 20s. Like you're right. I'm just finding my voice as well. So I cut it off and in the hair salon place, there was another woman, a lady sitting next to me like, "Whoa, are you okay with cutting your hair? Like did your husband approve of all that?" And I'm not married. But I'm like, "Why does that matter?" Like here we are and I feel like Cardi B is shedding or breaking that idea, that image that women are always catering to men and we're not. It's a different time. We're a different generation. And let's break all those associations, right? Like, let's focus on us and do whatever the fuck we want. Let's focus on our happiness. And again, from the get go, that's why I've always loved Cardi B because she just speaks her mind, she speaks her truth, and she's authentic in who she is. You know, it's that confidence that we need to still in women that like don't break under the pressure. And she just shown us like for a lot of women, especially women of color, like just stand your ground regardless because not only are you going to have men coming at you, all the wrath of other women.
And it's the women closest to you, huh? That you're just like, oh man. And it feels very lonely because I remember when you're talking about hair, in my past, when I used to date, when I was in a relationship, whatever, the guys always wanted your hair to be long. Like hair is a big deal, right? Like in society right now, it's just like for women, it's like, no, if I don't have long hair, I'm not sexy. One thing that I used to do, not only did I used to let my hair grow out, because my hair's pretty short too now, but I would always straighten it always because I knew that that was attractive. I used to get so many compliments when I would straighten my hair. People would be like, "Ooh," you know, like, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like this attention," because at that time I was young. I would say all of my 20s are like, man, I was just trying to do what society wanted, right? Like I wanted a relationship, I wanted to celebrate holidays and take family pictures, and I wanted my hair to be long and straight, like all the sexy girls. And later in life, I found out like even with all of that, we're still not happy, and men are still not happy, and society's still not happy. So I decided to be more me, right? And I'm like, once I had my daughter, like I haven't straightened my hair in 4 years, and my hair is so healthy now, and I just continue to cut it because. And a lot of people tell me like, do something with your hair. My tia Leti, shout out to my tia Leti, is always on my ass about do something with your hair. You never know who's looking. Put some makeup on, look more put together, And I totally understand the time she's coming from because that was instilled in her.
Very classy advice.
Yes. And you need to always look put together. Why? Because men are looking, because other women who are our competition are looking. And in my 30s, I realized I'm not competing with anybody. I don't want a man, especially if a man I need to look a certain way for him to want to be with me or for him to stay around. That's not the type of man that I want. I need it, like we need to get past all of the superficial stuff because once we do, men and women, we have so much beautiful to offer, but we spend so much time on our looks that all of these things, nothing matters. We still, we're not in healthy relationships, or if we are, we're still competing against others so that our man stays looking at us and doesn't look at other women. That's just crazy. I'm like, I'm about to be single forever because those are the standards, right? Like you have to look well and put together. Okay, one lyric that I love that Cardi says in the WAP, she says, "I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you how I got this ring." And she might cook, she might clean, but she was, she's making a stance. She's saying, so in order for me to get a ring, I got to cook and clean. Why can't I get a ring for who I am? What is this? What you know what I mean? And before, she's breaking back. And that's why Candace Owen hates her, because Candace Owen says, like, she's very traditional, like, yeah, women have to hold the household down. And it's like, well, Cardi didn't, and she still got a ring. And I'm someone who doesn't even believe in marriage and, none of that stuff. But I love the metaphor there. You know, she's saying, stop it. I still got a man. I'm in a happy relationship, and I didn't have to do all these traditional things that we think are serving our men.
Yeah, exactly, Prima. I 100% agree with that. There were so many memes I've seen that it was very negative on that sentence alone you said from the lyrics of that song. And women were totally against it because remember, she supposedly was filing for divorce, and then people are like, oh, now where's your ring? Now where's your ring? And it's like, well, she's the one who filed for divorce. She's the one who's calling the shots still. And here we are as women hating on her because she has the confidence and I don't know the other word I'm looking for, but enough to do something because she's that unhappy. You know what I mean? But here we are still tearing her down, and I don't understand that. It's that double standard, that it's these gender roles that we're still conforming to, that we're still seeing women belong in this role and men belong here, when it's 100% not even the case anymore. If you stop and like look around you, women aren't doing that anymore, you know?
And women shouldn't. We shouldn't be expected. I think it's a plus, you know. When I tell people that I cook, I do like a lot of meal prep stuff. I started my business maybe like 2 years ago, where it was just around cooking, and but I don't like when you know, like, oh, you cook, then you know you'll be fine. That's a way, or what is it? That's the way to a man's heart. So you know, sometimes, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to say cook because I'm not doing this for a man. I just so happen to. My mom taught me how to you know, like cook. She's okay. There's this other lyric. This kind of goes out throughout the song, but it says, "There's some whores in this house. There's some whore." That's what song is that from, Eli? Do you know? I know that's from somewhere. Okay, but it's from somewhere. But I like it because it says there's some whores in this house. And again, she's, you know, her and Meghan, they're throwing it in your face again, like, this is what you're gonna call us anyways. After this song is made, we already know it. And they added it. And I just think that's another slap in society's face for people who are like, that's not right. They shouldn't be dressed like that. They shouldn't be talking like that. Even though we listen to men say this all the time and we dance to it at the club, but when a woman does it, that's where it makes us so uncomfortable. And so I love it. It gives me a rush to know that younger women are not afraid to own their sexuality. They're not afraid to speak however they want. Megan Thee Stallion is also amazing. Um, I really love this song that says, it's called Girls in the Hood. And the beat is like boys, the Easy E. It's called Boys in the Hood, I think. I don't know, but it's like, you know, Girls in the Hood. So her first lyric says, "Fuck being good, I'm a bad bitch. I'm sick of mother effers trying to tell me how to live." And again, to me, it just was like, that's true. You know, everyone's always trying to tell us how to live, and something's always not right. And why did you cut your hair? Is your husband going to approve? Why, you know, why don't you straighten your hair anymore? Well, if you wouldn't have been dressed so slutty, people wouldn't have been disrespecting you. And it reminds me of when men, we've always given them this pass where it's just like when they check out other women, when they're with their partner in that moment, and it's like, that's how men are. It's, oh, you know that, but okay, could women do that? Because I feel like that would cause a lot of tension, and I don't feel guys would like that, right? Or like, I don't feel like our partners, anybody would like that. If there's a man passing by, we're just like, oh wow, I'm just fantasizing about them. I'm not gonna touch them. I'm not gonna talk to them, but I'm just picturing them naked, or what we would do during sex. And it's like, that's another pass. And I don't know why we don't hold men responsible. We give, like women have said, like, that's how men are. They're instinctual.
Of heated of when no.
Like, that's just, and I'm
Their
like,
nature.
yep, I'm gonna be single forever. I just am. I feel it. Like, there's no way I can deal with how we've accepted all these things.
Yeah. And
So,
you're right,
yeah.
Prima, when you said that about the club and like the double standard. When I listen, or when we were gonna talk about the WAP, it just made me think of that song "Ain't No Fun" by Snoop Dogg. And Nilo, if you can play a little clip in this moment so people get reminded,
Copyrights.
just a little beat though, like just like a quick
Copyrights.
second.
I'll do it. It ain't
Thanks.
no fun. Can we sing it, or is that also copyrighted?
I think you can sing it.
I've been waiting to sing on this podcast for
You
like
just
ever.
YOLO'd it. You're like, can you not? You're not that talented. You're like, I got it. You're just waiting for the moment to like sing. Damn,
Jessica never
Prima.
lets me sing on this. It's not cool.
Oh, for a reason, because then we'll really get like shamed.
Dislikes?
Yeah. People are gonna be
Really
like,
don't like
my ears are screeching. Stop, Prima. Nah, just
Okay.
kidding. Do it. Can
No,
we?
that was just a song that I'm not even gonna sing it. No, but
Yeah.
I know the lyrics because in LA, I don't know if this is anywhere else, but when we were partying, that was always one of the
anthem.
songs.
Yeah,
It was like
exactly. And
everybody
would just like go wild, like last song, and everybody was dancing.
Everybody knew the lyrics.
Exactly.
Everything.
And I get it. The lyrics are not that great towards women, but it's like it's just a song and everyone was singing along. But then I wonder if you were to play that song, the WAP song at the end, is everyone gonna be dancing, or is everyone gonna treat it the same as a classic as that song?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the misogynistic society we live in, because I think it'll be like a bunch of guys saying, I don't want to sing those lyrics to WAP out loud, like I'm chanting it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
More of the
women are saying it, are singing lyrics to that song.
I'm sure if you're at a club, women are going to sing that song at the end, but men are going to be like, I don't want to be the guy singing all the lyrics to WAP. Like, I think it's more of like a misogynistic thing more than just, I'm not trying to say that guys call the shots, but like men are who control society and like especially the music world, the music business, and they control what's going to come out on the radio and stuff like that. So obviously it was a time, the 90s, when that song came out, and whoever execs were at the top of the radio chains or whatever you call that, they chose what music went out. And it's also, it had to do like, there was a reason why it was a bunch of men's songs charting at the top and not necessarily women's songs. And then I feel like there was misogyny then, there's still misogyny now, even though we've progressed so much, but it's still like, I don't see guys wanting to sing the WAP song out loud at the end, and women don't mind being like the subject of like, yeah, they're talking about me, right? Like Jess would at the end of the club.
Well, and that's true. And I like how Cardi B and Meghan and all of these new up and coming, I'm using them, but there's been many female artists, okay? So I don't want to leave anybody out. That are turning that around, that they're like, yeah, this is a misogynistic business. I have to use that to my advantage. And they've been very open in their lyrics on how they do. They're like, yeah, you're gonna look at my body, you're gonna talk shit about me, so I'm just gonna turn this around so I can get your money, or so I can make profit off of that. So I think for people who call Cardi B illiterate and ghetto, I think she's a very, very smart businesswoman. And I think it's because we discredit the stuff that we learn on the street from our environment. Because a lot of kids, I always used to say this. I always used to say, man, my daughter, she's going to grow up differently than the kids in Mexico. Because the kids in Mexico at a very young age, 3, 4, 5, their language, and it's not just their ability to talk. They're always talking it's always like a twist. And I'm just like, do you understand when someone's hustling you, when a little kid and TJ is hustling you at 6 years old? They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing like the I'm poor, I don't, we're, this, but at the same time, they know that if I act this way, it's going to cause an emotion from these American people, and they're going to give me a fucking dollar for some gum. And I just feel like there's so much knowledge in our environments. And if kids or people growing up face a lot of adversity, they face a lot of like trauma, they face a lot of just different things.
A lot of struggle.
A lot of struggle. Then, some people turn it into something else, and it might, they might get in trouble and get put in jail or killed. And that's super unfortunate. That's like the one extreme end of it. But everybody in between who makes it, and we've all made it. Like we've all, people who have struggled, everybody makes it. And I just think that's so amazing. And that's nothing that you learned in school. None of those things is what they're teaching you in school. How to survive, how to make, I don't know who says this, but how to make $1 out of 50 cents. Like all of those things are very, very strong, and they're very applicable. Jay-Z did the same thing. Like, he used to hustle on the streets, and then he turned that into, right now he's extremely rich, right? And I think that's something that is missed in the education system. That's why I've never connected. I always hated school. College was cool, but from first grade to 12th grade, I feel like anything that I did learn, I don't know how to apply it to make my life something better. And here I am at 33 trying to figure out how to monetize, selling food, or selling anything, selling meal prep classes, selling, or broadcasting myself and creating a self branding situation on Instagram for myself. I just want to give back things that I know are not being taught in school. And so I don't know, I love talking about women in a very male dominated genre, because it just gives me a glimpse of the future, and we're all a product, and I feel like because misogyny has been shoved down our throats, even as women are now learning how to manipulate that. And that's what I look at. And I'm like, these women are so amazing. They're so smart, they're so wise. And yeah. So
They're empowering, I think, to a lot of women. If you choose to step outside of your comfort, if you choose to view it from a different perspective than your own life, because it, like you said, it's everyone has their own adversity, everyone's gone through their own, or has their own lens, right, that they see the world through. But it's like what we mentioned in last week's episode, is if you could just put yourself in that person's shoes and stop just tearing them down, but instead, like, just looking at them and saying, like, wow, look at everything she's come through. Her life wasn't easy, she didn't have everything given to her. And I think if people would just have that horizon of understanding a little bit more, I think would go a long way. And yeah, I was blasting this song with my daughter in the car, and her dad was in it, and we are listening to WAP. He's like, wow, really, you're gonna be playing this song for her? And I'm like, but we can listen to Ain't No Fun though, right? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, oh, there we go. You just fell into the system. You're the reason. And I'm just kidding. Getting too political now.
I remember one time on our Primas podcast Instagram page, someone wrote, like, unfortunately, women are resorting to things like OnlyFans to make money. And I'm like, resorting to? They're learning to play the system. They're learning to play you, because people who are talking shit about these OnlyFans things or whatever, I feel like anybody who hates to that degree, like, you put that much effort and time into hating anything, right? That says more about you, because why do you care? Why does Candace Owens, and I know we're using this person, she's really just a representative of a lot of things in our society, so I don't know this person. I feel like she's great in her own way. We obviously have opposing views. I'm not trying to talk shit and bring down a woman. I'm definitely not doing that. So what I'm saying is, like, a lot of people who are conservative, more on the conservative side, we all know the same messaging. They're against homosexuality. Everyone's going to hell or heaven. Women should be, at home and learning how to cook and clean, and pleasing their man. Otherwise, their man will leave them or not treat them well or cheat, or you know what I mean. And yeah, I feel like people more on the conservative side are always tuning in to what everybody else is doing, and then saying, you suck for doing that, you're dumb, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, worry about yourself. I don't even have time to hate on somebody, because I'm so consumed as a parent. I'm trying to create different businesses. I'm trying to, really focus on my little side projects. I'm trying to be a good role model. I'm trying to clean my body and work out. I don't have time to go. And if I ever did, sometimes we all get negative, and when I do, I'm like, you just wasted time. You just wasted time thinking about somebody else that you have no control over. And I think that was the messaging I wanted with this, was like, we need to stop worrying about what other people are doing. Even if we don't agree with it, it just doesn't matter. Our opinion doesn't matter. That hate, you're just putting negativity out into the world, when you can just be like, that's how she decides to live her life. And one thing I want to say real quick is about, like, women who are on the side of, like, when we talk about Planned Parenthood and abortion and pro-choice, pro-life, I think you don't have to be okay with abortion, but you can still respect someone else doing whatever they want to do with their body. And like, who are we to tell other people what to do with their body? Like when we're talking about the mom shaming, where it's just like, that's her business, whatever she does. That's I'm not helping her raise that child that she may or may not want. So I need to mind my own business, right? Because society is not my responsibility. My responsibility is myself and how to better myself and how to put out positive vibes. And in order to do that, you got a lot of work and healing to do on a daily basis. So shout out to all the haters. Love and peace. I didn't know how to bring that one together.
I like it. Yeah, but this episode is about women empowerment, and I just love talking about it and uplifting people who are different, who are breaking those social norms of like women are this or women are that. It's like, no, we're not. And we're still practicing it and still breaking the ideas of how we were conditioned as kids. And yeah, we're in our 30s now and we still don't have it figured out. We're in our 30s and we're still trying to get there because society has pushed us down. And there's been so many studies that prove that during adolescence, women's goals and ideas drop significantly compared to adolescent boys. Isn't that mind-boggling? That in our teenage years, which is the most craziest time for any human being because their hormones are going out of control, that's the time where society tells them that women are this and men are this, way up here and women are down here. And it's been proven in all these studies. And like we always say, do your research, do your homework. I'm not making this up. There have been so many studies that back that idea up. And so what we're trying to do is just to elevate it, to just say it's okay for women to think like men or do whatever men are doing, because why the fuck not? Why not? Why are we holding them back and bringing them down and fitting them in this box of social norms, like social ideas of what women are supposed to be? And that's where I was motivated to talk about this topic, because we both have little daughters and I don't want to sugarcoat how life is, you know? I want her to know the reality. I want her to be okay with her body and have that confidence, which we didn't have, and utilize those tools and hand them to her so she can make the best choices in her life. And still, my daughter's going to make some poor choices in life, but that's okay because we're okay. And we're recording now.
You don't need to cry, Jess. We're good.
This is what I mean, though. I know. It's just because
it's okay. But I know how you feel, because when that happened, I'm like, I'm just happy it wasn't me.
I
See
know.
people what it's like to be poor when you can't afford the best internet and you're trying to start a podcast.
Free.
I know.
The struggle.
It's because we're talking about this. Let's stop talking about this and start talking about church Sundays.
Look at these women. The people that Google are like, oh, these women want to talk about the WAP. Wet ass Primas, huh?
Oh, I like that. Wet ass Primas. Okay. So before our
really quick, I like how it wasn't funny when I said it, but Jess is dying hysterically after Cindy said it. What did you say, Cindy? That's fresh. That's so fresh.
It just was like a second delay. Elo, I am still crying over our lost file that we just recorded for 45 minutes.
No, don't say that. Don't put that out there. We did not lose it. We will not re-record. Because we had some good energy there. And I don't know if I remember everything to say again. Okay. So I was going to get into the steamy part of this conversation. We're almost done, you guys. Bear with us, whoever's still there. So in the song of Megan Thee Stallion, Girls in the Hood, she has one lyric that says, I ain't lying about my nut just to make a man happy. So I think, I know this is like deep into our sexuality, but I think nobody wants to talk about these things, but I feel like a lot of women that I know, like we think about these things. We're always like, men, you know, during sex, it's always, they're going to finish. But men don't even stop to think. And unless you're a very conscious man who grew up around women, who did their own research on women, and you understand, most guys don't know, don't care. And so I love how she says, well, I'm not going to lie about it just to make you happy. Either I came or I didn't. So I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever lied about
or been lied
coming
to?
or been lied to?
I
I've never been
definitely
lied
always lie to my wife when I finish, and she just thinks I do. Never finish.
Always?
Always. And then I just go put like some lotion in the condom and be like, oh, that's crazy.
Yes.
Okay, well, you've only
I
been
have
married,
lied.
Eloy, so
I know, Eloy, you've only been with one woman. You're one
I know.
person your
But
whole
Jess
life.
is weird. Like, Jess lies to herself. Just tell herself, yeah, I did. I ain't got nothing to lie to.
Wait,
No.
just what? You have lied before?
Yes, I have lied, especially in my early youth. In my early 20s, I 100% did lie.
That's
Now,
sad.
now I don't though. Now I'm like, wait a minute. What just happened? Did this just really happen? Now I'm like, okay.
So I've lied many times. I think it's very easy. Even if you have the WAP, because that's something that I can say that I didn't know it was cool, but I'm glad. It's a measure, right? Like of how turned on a woman is. And
You thought it was
so
cooler to be dry before?
no, I just feel like I'd get too wet, like extreme, where I'm like, whoa, like I was embarrassed, like and whatever. But I mean, I enjoyed it, right? But no, I think I've only been with one person who knew enough to be like, get yours, any way, shape, or form. But that, like I said, out of the girls that I've talked to, out of the guys that I've been with, like, guys are not educated on that area. I don't care. And I think women, we just kind of like give it a pass as always. And we're just like, well, at least I got a WAP. And it's like, no, finish. And if you're a person listening to this, make sure your female is finishing. You could be a girl or a boy. Like, why wouldn't you want anybody else not to feel that like orgasmic experience just like you have? So I love that she says that. I love it. She just hits on so many points, Megan Thee Stallion. So does Cardi B. And yeah, I think from these two former ratchet ladies that used to be up and down LA and Vegas, because we were there a lot. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very excited because a lot of youth, I've worked with youth. I love working with youth. I know Cardi B and Megan are in their 20s, but I just really love their energy. I love that they don't care what other people think about them. I think more people need to be on that note. Like, people are going to say shit, and that's on them. That's from their level of whoever they are. It doesn't matter what shit they say, good or bad. Like, that's just how they perceive the world. So I love it. Shout out to all of the rappers. Shout out to these beautiful ladies. Also, shout out to Candace Owens because she's somebody's cup of tea. And just
a lot of people's apparently.
A lot of people's cup of tea. So definitely, we're not hating. We don't care if somebody disagrees with us. Not in a bad way. Just it doesn't matter. Disagreements are always gonna happen. Everyone's different. But to tear someone down or call them illiterate or to say that girls are whores for owning their sexuality, the bigger picture for me is that these women are in full control of what they're doing, of their business, of how they're doing everything. It's on them, and they are doing it confidently, and I love them for it. And it's very empowering. So I'm very thankful to these women. I'm so happy they made WAP.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up a quick little game. I'm gonna throw a couple of guys' names out there, and you guys tell me if you lied to them.
What? No.
Eloy, why do you like some drama, bro?
Why do you guys hate drama? What do you think gets views? You got a Tekashi 6ix9ine this podcast.
Oh, see, that's another one that it's like I had high hopes for the kid, but then it's like with all the tension that Mexicans and Latinos have against like our Black brothers and sisters, he definitely didn't make a good one for us. It's embarrassing. But I had hopes. I was like, all right, let me see what this kid does, and then he didn't. He doesn't. Whatever. I'm not talking shit. I just cool. Any closing remarks?
No, I think we said everything we wanted to say, and Hopefully we change some lenses today and people are just a little bit more understanding about the WAP.
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening. Let us know your OnlyFans account. No, I'm playing. Thank you. Please follow us on Instagram. Give us feedback. Like we always say, we appreciate your feedback. I don't care if it's good, bad, just give it to us. We love you. Please tell people about us. Like our video, listen, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. Bye.
Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, Primas. Bye, Primas. Bye, Eloy.